Good afternoon, Crystal Creations. It's Sharon here again, and I'm here today with the first part in a series of lives talking about the chakras and which crystals they relate to. So I'm just going to give it a couple of seconds to see if anybody else pops on. Don't forget, if you're watching, give StreamYard permission to show your name, otherwise Facebook won't show me your comments. And if you did miss this and are watching it on replay, don't forget hashtag replay, hashtag sorry I missed you. Hi, I've had somebody come on, but it's just saying Facebook user, so I'm not sure who it is. So just let me know who it is, and it's lovely to have you with me today. Just wait for the lag while it does its thing. I really am a bit too impatient for this. I do sometimes struggle to sit and wait for the Facebook lag. Never mind. Hi Lynn, thank you for joining me. You're going incognito today, are you? That's fine. That's fine. Well, I'm going to get kicked off, and like I said, if anybody else joins us, then have to go back to the beginning and watch it. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly share my screen, and I want to show you this one. So I've remembered to press the share button, so hopefully you should be seeing an image alongside me, and this is just one off Facebook. I am going to sort of try and make my own, but just a quick, oh, go away, I don't want to subscribe to all these things. I just want to use your web page. So this actually shows the main chakra going through your body. So starting off at the root, then the sacral, your solar plexus, heart, throat, what we call the third eye, and the crown chakra. And all these are responsible for different sort of feelings and sort of healing and energies within your body. So what in your body and beyond. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about this one today. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about the sacral and solar plexus together because they fit quite well together. Then I'll talk about the heart, and then following that, the throat chakra. And then later on, probably the beginning of next week, I will talk about the third eye and the crown chakra because they have got sort of very similar properties, use similar kinds of stones. So we're starting down with the root chakra here, which is right down at the base of your spine. Oh, that's an interesting advert. It can be shown as red, or sometimes it is also shown as black. Now I've shared my screen, I need to work out how to stop sharing it. That's it. So this root chakra, it's right at the base of your spine, and it's very much sort of keeping you connected, keeping you grounded, lots of protection, lots lots of stability. It's got strong links with feelings, it's got sort of links with pleasure, pain, but it's about all the physical aspects of life. And when this is out of balance is when you just feel not quite connected, not quite with it, bit floaty, you need to be grounded. And the color, so these are all energy centers, and basically they just whirl round and round in circles. And when you get a crystal on it, it vibrates at the same frequency and can bring the chakra back into the right movement for you, so you then feel grounded. So there's a few different stones that are used for this chakra. As I said, they all tend to be, they're either red or black, and it's things like red jasper, obsidian, tourmaline, black tourmaline's another one. So really those stones that have got really sort of those deep rich colors and feel quite solid. Also hematite, a lot of you may have seen hematite, you see it a lot in bracelets as well. And hi Emma, thanks for joining me. So that is another one that you can use. Now for me, this is my work setup. I'm sat up for my day job as well as where I do all my lives, and on my desk I have, better not drop it because it is a bit of a chunk. That is a bit of a chunk. So that is something called snowflake obsidian. So it is black obsidian, but this has got these sort of like inclusions of other sort of minerals in it, which is what has given it the sort of snowflakes. I use this for my grounding stone. Personally, I find black obsidian on its own is just a bit too much for me. So if I'm doing a meditation, oh, have we got somebody else joined us? So if I'm doing a meditation, then I will put this down by my feet, and it keeps me grounded. So unless I'm doing a particular kind of meditation where I'm sort of want to go off into my aura and stuff, I find I need something like this to keep me grounded. So chunk of that under my chair or the bed, by my feet, whatever, when I'm meditating, keeps me grounded, keeps me in place. You'll often find that therapists doing a treatment on the bed, they will have something like this or similar under the treatment bed right at the bottom. Hi Holly, nice to have you with us. StreamYard's not telling me who anybody is today, so that is that one. If you do have any questions, do pop them in the comments and I will ask them. You can maybe even come on live with me today. So what can we do? How can we use these stones? And I ought to say, the other reason I keep this on my workstation is it's very good for protection. So it's actually sort of protecting me from any of the nastiness that might come from work or the negative feelings that I'm feeling. So keeping me protected and grounded. So that is that one. That's the only one I've got to show you today, but I thought I'd sort of open it up to questions as well, and also give you a few ideas of things you can do. So for example, I don't think I would meditate with that. I would probably find it too big. But if you got a smaller stone and held that in your hand, and then just sort of got into a comfortable position, closed your eyes and actually meditate on the crystal. So just think about the crystal and see what kind of journey it takes you on. And if you want and you're into journaling, afterwards you could come back and scribble your thoughts and then use that to reflect on as well. So have we got any questions? Does anybody, I'm going to pop the link in the comments. So if anybody wants to come and join me live with any questions, they can do, but Facebook won't let me put that there. So I'm going to have to right, okay, just bear with me 2 seconds. Right, I've seen your question, Holly. So, well, it's too big for me. Personally, this is very grounding for me, and it makes me feel very calm and relaxed and all the rest of it. That's okay. You can turn your camera off if you want. You can just have your and just have your microphone mic on if you want to. So it's too big for me. I actually, and this is something I will cover probably next week when I talk about choosing crystals, is there's different ways, because there's different ways you can choose crystals. I do my crystals, buy my crystals online now, and you can actually cleanse and charge them when you get them. But a lot of my crystals I buy in various shops, and I will actually go into the shop, pick up a crystal and put it down, and then I'll go and pick up another one and put it down. And it is something that is really actually quite hard to describe, but I actually get a physical sensation from it. Everybody's different. So sometimes I've been known to grab a crystal in a shop and it almost feel like it's burnt my hand. But at other times I've wandered around, picked up and played with various things and thought, no, actually, you know what? There's nothing here for me today. So it's about working with what your energies can recognize. I mean, it's something, I'm a scientist. I've got 2 science degrees. I never thought I would sort of, this would be for me, but I thought, well, people say there's something in it, I'll give it a go. And after getting that physical response, it's like, well, okay, yeah, there is something in that. So yeah, Holly, it is actually like you do feel like a connection to it. So has anybody used any crystals at all? Has anybody got any crystal jewelry they use? Tell me about that and we can chat that through. But yeah, as I said, the reason I'm starting at the bottom, yep, I'm a scientist, but open-minded. Never looked into it, but see many of our MIB ladies talk about crystals. Absolutely. And as I said, I was very much, nope, it's not going to work. And where's all the randomized controlled trials and gold standard of evidence behind it? And the evidence is the people that have been doing it for thousands of years and what my own brain and body tell me about them. I'm not going to say I can look at them and I get all pretty auras or anything like that. It is a physical connection, and I find for me it's better either when I'm having a crystal treatment or if I'm just sat quietly or if I'm meditating. Meditating with a crystal, and I can, as you say, really connect it. Always on the skeptical side, know lots of people do find it beneficial, open-minded. Absolutely. I would say just try it and see how it works for you. What's your favorite? So those of you that are on, what's your favorite colors? Have you found you're particularly drawn to any particular crystals? Yeah, it is like a healthcare professional. So it is that particularly healthcare assistants and nurses that are really much closer to the patient, that they do get that gut feeling, there's something a bit off with such and such a patient today. So yes, it is that there's just something there, and I've kind of, which was quite hard at first as a scientist to do, but I've kind of accepted it as, well, that's what it's like, it kind of is what it is, because I can feel it. Blues as a colour, but love amethyst and purple, etc. Okay, so as I said at the beginning, I'll do the different chakras, a few minutes on each all through the week, but just to give you some ideas, blue is actually related to the throat chakra. So it's particularly good if you've got a sore throat, or if you're feeling frustrated and that you're just not feeling like you're being heard, or that there's some communication stuff you need to work on. So blue's very good for that. Amethysts and purples tend to work more on your third eye and your crown, so they are more connected to sort of the more spiritual and aura side of you, but are, for a beginner crystal, are a really good all-rounder, because they just bring that calmness, that general calmness to you. And I've never tried it, but apparently they're very good for, amethyst is very good for sobriety. So yes, not sure in terms of crystals. I like purple, and I like feels and textures of stones, crystals, etc. Yes, do you remember, I'm just going onto my other screen to see if I can pull it up. I put an image up the other day, she says. Maybe I haven't put it up yet. Here we go, crystal shapes. Right, I'm going to share my screen again. Share. So I want to add that one again. So can you see there's all these different shapes of crystal, and there are even more than this. So you've got your sphere, which is when you're getting into some of the sort of really deep energy stuff. I mean, think of that more like a crystal ball. So sort of if you're scrying, also very good for harmony, things like that. The thing you will see the most is what we call tumble stones. Very much a blue person for years and was mentally unwell. Frustration there, absolutely. And more recently, I've gone pink and purple. Okay, I'm going to come back to the pink in a minute. Then tumbles. So they're just the small crystals, and they're actually smooth. So they're quite comfortable just to hold in your hand and fiddle with. And the other thing you can get is what we call a palm. It's palm crystal, or some people call it a thumb crystal. So it's oval, and it's like got a little dent in it that you can actually put your thumb in, so when you're fiddling with it. So they're very good. Then you get raw or rough crystal, so that's as it comes. Love smooth stones, feel solid in your hands. Again, that is you connecting to those stones and their crystals. Just think of, they've come from, you know, deep in the earth, how old they are and what energy they must have collected. So raw is, as it says, it's not been polished down like the tumbles. Crystals, these are fun. Generators, this is what I would actually I call mine a wand, and it's got the point on one end and then mine's blunt the other, and you can use that for directing energy or stirring energy up in a treatment. Egg, obviously balance. Pyramids, it's quite focused up to that point. And double terminated, these are, I've got a stone that I call my control crystal, and it's double pointed. And so what it is, it's sort of because it's two-way, it's kind of pulling the good energy into balance and then pushing the bad energy back out. So there's that one. But yeah, these are just a few. One of my favorites is what they call geodes, which are like the little caves. Although the ones I usually see are usually about 3 foot tall and have got too many noughts on for me, or something like an amethyst bed. So it is a flattish chunk with the crystals on top, and those are really good for if you are need to cleanse and charge your crystals. So thinking about, well, if your crystal feels like it needs a bit of a charge, then actually, and it's not a full moon yet, pop it on top of your amethyst bed and that will charge it. You can also get things like selenite, selenite bowls and plates that, again, the crystals themselves do the charging. Love the geos. Yeah, the little caves are lovely. Charge. Okay. I will go into this one in more depth. I'm actually going to write a guide on it. But basically, if you think of a crystal as an object that's got energy in it, when you then use that energy, it's gone, it needs some energy putting back into it. So you've sort of taken all the energy out of it and balanced yourself so you feel better. So they then need charging back up. And there's a couple of ways, different ways of doing it. You can do it by intention. You can put them on certain crystals that actually help charge other crystals. But the best one, to be honest, is I just line all mine up on the windowsill when it's a full moon, and that really does put all the energy back in them so you can start using them. And when you've been around crystals for a while, after you've charged them, you will feel a difference in how it feels. The other thing that I mentioned there was cleansing, and that's actually about sort of if your crystals become a bit yucky or whatever, or it's got, you think it's attracted some bad energy, then you need to get rid of the bad energy. And there's various different ways to do it. So moonlight, sunlight also works, but I would say moonlight is better. Smudge them, so that is taking something like white sage. So basically you get a bundle, you just get a bundle, light it and then blow it out so it's just smoking like an incense stick, and waft that round your crystals and round your house as well. I smudge my house every few weeks as well, and it gets rid of that bad energy. Depending on the crystals, there are some that don't like water, like selenite. Stick it under the tap and give it a wash. So often what I'll do with mine is actually it washes, I'll run them under the tap and then leave them on the windowsill in full moon. And the other thing is plant them. Now, what I tend to do with mine is if I've got some that just don't feel quite right or whatever, then I will just bury them in the garden and, you know, put them back to earth, put them back to where they come from. And from time to time, they do actually work their way back up to the top, and if you take them out and wash them, then you find that actually it has worked. Okay, how does it get icky? It's not icky at all. It's not a silly question. No such thing as a silly question. So think about, for example, if you've been in a queue somewhere and and it's a long queue and everybody's getting really, really cross, and there's lots of what I call bad vibes going about, then a crystal will absorb all those bad vibes and that bad energy. And then you don't want that yourself. You actually want to put the crystal back to its natural state where it's charged and it's not icky. So by doing one of these things, say washing it and then popping it out in the moonlight or whatever your chosen method is that is actually putting the energy back in the crystal, and it's putting it back in balance, so where it should be, what kind of energy it should be having. That makes sense. Which bit makes sense? So just for a quick summary, so the base or root chakra, it's the one at the base of the spine. It's about your physical being. It's about you keeping grounded, keeping connected, and you are looking all of it so far. It's about you keeping grounded, keeping you connected, and keeping you protected. And particularly think about the black and the red stones, that they're the ones that will help you do that. I'm just going back up, and I don't know who was blue and now I've gone to more pink and purple, but if I go back to my diagram here, so that is when you were very frustrated, very unwell. Now, although it's shown green here, the heart chakra is also pink. It can be either or both of those colours. So if you're leaning more towards pink, it's about being more balanced, about learning to love. You've learned to love yourself more. And then the purple is more up here about, and you get those more when you're actually doing sort of a lot of sort of self-awareness, journaling, meditation, all those kinds of things. So that's where the purple comes from. But yeah, although this shows green or pink are for your heart chakra. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to start a bit earlier tomorrow. I'm going to start at 2, and I'm going to be covering the sacral and solar plexus chakra. So we might go on a bit longer. We might not, because some of the questions you've asked today, if you're back with me tomorrow, then you won't need those answering either. But do pop in the comments if you've got any more questions, and I will come back to them later. They should be it won't show on Facebook until it's live, I don't think. I'm not going to try, because otherwise Facebook shouts at me. So any more questions, pop them in. Thank you ever so much for joining me. I hope you found it useful. I will be back tomorrow when we'll be talking oranges and yellows and more about the real core of your being. And I will have a few more crystals to show tomorrow. But thanks for joining me. Bye for now.